Fireman, and I'm just going to tell the history of my business here. These are all the dudes that have worked for me over the years. This idea started in '98, summer of '98. A bunch of my buddies and me are doing that long 100-mile ride to Shiner on like old Koss and Mongoose Koss and Cook Brothers and all those old '80s BMX 26s. So all and these other dudes who want to get involved and do the ride with us, they're like, hey, we want to go pick up a bike like that. They don't exist, you know, they're like $1,000 and they're real rare. So I said that we ought to invent that. So I came up with the idea and just did a drawing of an old Mongoose Koss and an OM Flyer, and I put something right in between. And that's the Fireman's Original, which we first produced in '98. And then I found a company in Florida called Fabwell that did the production for me. At that same time, I got a part-time job at this bike shop called Eurosport here. And these two dudes were working with me in the shop, Cody and Bradley. And they actually both ended up working with me once we opened the Firehouse. This guy, Scuzzy, right here, he's just an old buddy of mine that we've known each other for a long time. And we kind of talked about this idea in the early 90s, about 10 years before I actually started the business. So once we got that first production done in Florida, I started thinking about opening my own shop. At the same time, this guy David here, he helped me design my website, 98 firemansbikes.com. We had all that stuff ready before, I think before even the product existed, you know, except for just the original demo. We ended up closing Eurosport and opening Firehouse, which is what we call the distributor for Fireman's Texas Cruzer. It's Firehouse Custom Bicycles, Inc., two separate companies, in April of 1999. And Cody was the one, it was just he and I starting out, and then Bradley started coming back around and saw all the madness going on over here, and for some reason decided he wanted to be part of it. Where do we go from there? I guess in the year 2000 is when we decided we need to make some changes. We did a couple production runs with Fabwell out of Florida. We needed to make some changes in our quality of our product. So I solicited the old guy from SE Racing, Mike. We had sent him some pictures of us doing the Shiner rides on some of his old product, like the OM Flyer and stuff like that. He thought we were crazy, but he agreed to go ahead and help us redesign our bike a little bit. So we put a loop tail, shorten the rear end a little bit, and the Fireman's Texas Cruzer Race was born. And the other one was called the Fireman's Texas Cruzer Original, Fireman's Texas Cruzer Race. Also about that time, we were a couple years into the company of Firehouse, and Bruce over here, he came over to work with me. We introduced the race, and we started doing well. And we had a full function shop, the Firehouse here. We did, repairs, sold mountain bikes, did all that stuff. And we did good with that for a couple of years. Then I just got kind of burnt out on the whole bike industry thing, as anyone that's worked in it knows. And I got a job with a local company called Ambiente, delivering wine. I did part days at the shop, part days there. That's when I met Rob. It was the end of that year, and I said, am I going to, just completely quit this business, or am I going to figure out some way to keep it going? And that's actually how I decided to get the wine job. But this guy showed up at my shop. We kept the production going, et cetera, et cetera. And this last guy on the end, Jeff, is my brother-in-law, and he's kind of working with me on one of our new products that we have. We're working with Real Ale Brewing Company, and we have this new product that's called Fireman's Real Ale Brewing Fireman's 4. And Brad bought Real Ale about 1998 when I started Fireman's. Anyway, they got it on tap in Austin. It's got the chain ring and the little 4. Anyway.
Firemansbikes.com is the way to find out about it.
Yes, but probably mostly that, but then also, maybe some just local people and shops that are riding them in these other towns.
Word of mouth, yeah, sure.
It's a word of mouth deal more than anything, I think. And maybe we'll get into this in a sec, but truly, this bike, and not just as far as because geometry is easy to tweak, it is the only 26-inch BMX bottom bracket, loop tail, handmade American bike on the planet. It's the only one.
We've sold them through Freewheeling. Hung up our bike the first day, and they left it hanging up there, Jay over there, for like a year. The first day I had the original frames. Andrew at Ozone, he's no longer over there, but he bought 2, and Hill at Sport Shop bought 2 of the originals, and it's just, man, I just can't believe we started out with that product.
Ozone's been really good.
Yeah, lately,
Ozone's been good about
Ozone-
picking up 2-3 frames at a time,
Yes.
and you know they've been moving them. And fortunately, folks now around town like recognize it. I mean, it's a full brand. It's not just some like weird local bike. I mean, it's a recognized deal.
Yeah, and we have shops too
And
around.
not just here. This is one guy building all of our bikes and a grassroots movement to get the thing kind of like restarted, because people are really keying into some of their older sort of nostalgias. And this pretty much fits hand in glove.
Yeah, our demographic is pretty funny because it's all just dudes like us, our age group. And I mean, you can just pinpoint it's everyone.
I think that that's something that's key, that aside from the bikes, that it's hard to describe without being present in this environment. But there's something else going on that's more than just the bikes. It's about
Recapturing your youth.
yeah, well, for sure that, but
all the
also
customers like that.
about there's a lot of beer drinking involved and other activities, but there's something about we used to ride BMX bikes all over the place when we were little kids. We lived way across town, and we would ride all the way down here to the UT area all day Saturday. We'd just disappear. Our folks had no idea where we are. We were on our touches or
freedom.
Robinson or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. Total freedom. So this bike thing, at least to me, when I get on a bike like this and ride around, I just feel like I did when I was in 7th grade. There's no responsibility. I don't have to answer to anything, and I go crash into shit, and, have a good time and get up, dust myself off, and go again, and it's like, I had a dream the other day. I was telling Greg about it. I was like, oh yeah, remember when over there by 6 in Lamar and there weren't any buildings, it was just car lots? And that was, he lived over near there, and it was just like a time when Austin was just a little bit slower than it is now, and you could really like ride down the street and cross intersections without having to look where you were going because there was so little traffic, and there's something that was more fun about that. Or I don't know.
And once again, it's kind of a hand sell. I mean, a lot of times people come by and they're like, they don't know a lot of what's going on here. We've got this little bitty shack. This is where all the magic happens. So, you've got people coming over, and you have to build a little confidence there. But then once they kind of see what's really going on, and then you get to hand over a brand new bike, there's a lot of smiles, man. All of us, and certainly them, there's nothing better than a new bike. But it's been a real pleasure to have people come by and just kind of pick up their new ride here, hand built by everyone here.
I just want to congratulate all these guys for hanging with me and making this crazy idea. It's still going, and we'll probably just keep it going forever. Why not? So I think that's it. Whenever we're talking, it's
Bikes, man.
Hey, he's got to get a beer. Hang on, just cut. I'll be in my trailer.
Not again.